This recipe is a low-carb, gluten-free vegetable lasagna. For this recipe, I will use spaghetti squash, optional frozen spinach, optional lasagna noodles. The recipe has several steps, but with some prep work ahead of time or multitasking, it really doesn't take very long to put everything together. First step, as you can see, is that I wash the spaghetti squash thoroughly. Then I cut in some ventilation. This is a very important step. If you skip this step, the squash could explode in the oven. I know from personal experience. Place on a baking tray and bake at 350 degrees until the squash is soft enough to penetrate easily with a fork or knife. You could cut the squash first before baking, and I recommend doing that if you plan on saving the seeds. However, it's much easier for me if I bake it first. While the squash is baking, you could start on the other steps in this video. Cut the squash open and remove the seeds. Set it apart. In a medium-sized to large saucepan, sauté half a large onion or 1 medium onion and 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. Add in optional frozen organic spinach. Add your seasonings of salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning, or basil and paprika. Add in marinara sauce, optional vinegar-free salsa, and 1 tablespoon of honey. Remove, drain, and mash tofu, into which you may add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, more or less to taste, onion and garlic powders. Set that aside. To make the cheese sauce, you may use raw hulled sunflower seeds or raw cashews, based on your preference and availability. For this recipe, since I was making a double batch of cheese, I used both. So, I put in 1 cup raw hulled sunflower and 1 cup of raw cashews, rinsed well. To that, I added 2 teaspoons of salt, onion and garlic powders, juice of 2 lemons, and 2 cups of water. I then added a big piece of red bell pepper, mostly for color. You can add pimentos or roasted red bell pepper. Blend till smooth. Now to combine everything into a lasagna casserole. Remove the spaghetti squash from the skin. Line the bottom of the pan with the tomato sauce mixture. Then add a layer of spaghetti squash. Next, add a layer of tofu, and and then a layer of melty cheese as well. You may also add an optional layer of vegan mozzarella shreds as shown. For a complete low-carb version, you may then repeat the steps with another layer of spaghetti squash and repeat the process. Or, for an alternative, you may add lasagna noodles. Here I added uncooked brown rice gluten-free lasagna noodles. I then repeated the steps by adding more tofu, more cheese sauce, more vegan mozzarella shreds. Cover and bake at 350 degrees till noodles are soft and the cheese is melted. Serve or cool and freeze for future use.